So you teach. So let's tell everybody that. You teach lift.
I do.
Saline removal in your Florida location.
We do teach it there. Tiffany, actually, the one I work with at Kala Ink and Aesthetics, is a lift trainer as well. How crazy is that? There's only like 30 of us in the whole world, and 2 of us work at the same location.
Yeah, that's wow.
I know. And then I was teaching in Illinois as well. So when I'd go back to Chicago and do 2 days of permanent makeup, and then I'd take 1 day, and I only take 1 student at a time because I felt it was very...
For lift, you do 1 student
I like
at a time.
doing 1 student because they get all my attention.
Yeah.
I get to ask all their questions. And like the room that I'm working in isn't like super big either. So it's like,
I don't like
too
doing
crowded.
1 student anymore.
No?
No, I kind of grew out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, just be honest. I used to do 1-on-1s, and then I started doing 2-on-1s.
Okay.
And
I think I could handle that.
I prefer 2. Well, tomorrow I got a 3-on-1.
Oh, no.
You're one of the 3. We'll see how I manage that.
All right.
But 3-on-1s is the most I'll do. Last year I was doing 4-on-1s, and that was too heavy for me.
Yeah.
It was a little too much. And I had to pull in like one of my artists, either Michonne or Amy, someone
to come in
had to come in and help.
Yeah.
And I'll have apprentices around tomorrow helping out, if we need this or need that or whatnot.
Cool.
But what I like about the 2-on-1, Shelly, is they have each other. So they can chat and they get to know each other, and then they form a little bond, a little friendship.
That's
and the most important reason is it allows me to take
a little break.
Go take a little break. Yeah. And I don't feel
okay, I could see that.
Yeah, like just like
you're like gotta be on it all the time.
Yeah, just to dip out for 10 minutes and go rejuvenate. Yeah. And
because it is a lot.
Yeah. And then they have each other to sit and I'll say, okay, you guys, I want you to go over this particular, section of the notes, and I'll be back and I'm going to give you a little quiz. And then I can just go, dip out a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And, and I found with 1, it's like you don't have that luxury. It's like they're really focused on you and that's it.
True. They're dependent on you for everything.
So I like the 2-on-1s. I really do.
All right.
So what's the number 1 question you get about removal? Like,
from clients, it's always how many sessions is this?
How many sessions? Yeah, us too.
I feel like that's the number 1.
That's the number 1, and not even just clients, but even on the lift board.
Oh yeah.
And in my course, like,
you were very specific, and you're like, don't ever give them a number. Like, you don't know.
In my course, right? In writing, verbally, on a video, I tell them, don't ever
do it.
Yeah, and then don't go on the lift board and post a picture and say, how many sessions do you think? Because we're not going to give you a number.
No. I don't have a crystal ball. Like, I can't see the future here. I don't know. I don't have the answers.
There's just too many variables. I'll tell you, like, all my years experience, and then the artists here, because we've always had, besides me, an additional 2 or 3 artists doing removals here. So we do a lot of removals.
Mm-hmm.
And we all get excited. We call each other in each other's rooms or, whatnot. But I would say from our experience, anywhere from like 1 to 7, I would say that's the
average.
Yes. And I would say the average to get to where I can either color shift it.
Right.
Or it's pulled out of the skin to where
the client's happy.
Everybody's happy.
Yeah.
I would say the average is probably 4.
Yeah.
Right?
That's a pretty solid number for that, I think.
I think that's pretty realistic. And every now and then you'll do 1 session and they come back and you're like, oh my freaking Lord. What? Oh my gosh. You're just so stoked. You cannot believe that much pulled out.
So different. Like, to watch that from client to client. Like, sometimes you'll do one and you're like, wow, I really didn't see any difference here. And that's discouraging to me. But also it's like, okay, well, we got to do another one, and like, let's just keep going and we'll see what happens. And as much as I hate having people having to come back and do it again when they know, they can feel it when you're just like, oh man, like, didn't really go as planned there. But, and they come back in and most of them have confidence in me that, something's going to happen.
Yeah.
And like, they're going to come back. And
right.
I would say 90% of the clients are like, all right, I trust you. And, you know, let's keep going.
I tried to express in the course to the artist taking the course, moving into Saline. I tried to really express like encouragement for us artists not to get discouraged. It might have taken 30 minutes. Well, nowadays with a single needle, 3 hours. Just kidding. But anywhere from an hour, you know, to 3 hours to put that pigment in the skin.
Yep.
Right. But it can take, you know, 1 to 7 sessions. And sometimes, you know, 3 sessions in, maybe you see, you know, 10% lightening. And as an artist, we're discouraged, myself included. And I'm just like, you know, you and everybody else, I get discouraged too sometimes.
For sure.
But then on that then you do a 4th session. And that 4th session was the session that pulled it all out.
Right.
And if I had stopped at 3 because I was discouraged or I allowed my client to get discouraged, I wouldn't have had the opportunity to do that 4th session.
Sure.
And we wouldn't have pulled all that pigment out and now gotten to her in a place where now we can put a beautiful brow. So I hope I expressed that really, really well. I think it's the responsibility. First, the artist has to stay motivated.
Yeah.
Right. And not lose encouragement because it is a process.
It is.
And you're going to pull it out. It's coming out.
Yeah. I always sit them down though in the beginning and I'm like, this is going to be a process.
Yeah.
Like this is not quick fix, one and done kind of thing. You know, I put that in their head.
And laser's not either. Even if they went to laser by all means is not either.
Right.
I actually think lift can remove pigment quicker than laser in many cases, maybe not in all cases, but it's comparable or quicker.
Yeah.
You know?
I feel like in the oranges, the yellows, the reds, where laser's like, can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
I love stepping in and then doing that and pulling those yellows out.
And we can get the titaniums out too.
Yeah.
You know, where laser can't.
The camouflage colors.
A lot of that. There's a lot of that. I just
so
did one
much
of those.
Of that.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. So we're and you know, so definitely it's the artist, it's the tech. They have to stay motivated, they have to stay encouraged, and it's up to us to keep the client motivated and keep them from getting discouraged. And what you just said earlier, it all starts with honest communication.
It really
and
does.
Educating the client.
You got to do that,
right?
Because if they walk in, first of all, they don't know what this is. Yeah, you know, if they're like, I don't know, someone told me about it. So I'll sit down and explain, like, here's how it works and here's what's happening. Here's what we're doing today. Here's what might happen. Here's what might not happen.
Right.
And I put every scenario into their head. So when they call us 2 weeks later and they're like, nothing's happening. I'm like, I know. Remember when I said da 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 da? They're like, oh, yeah. Okay. And then they kind of chill a little bit, you know.
That's why we kind of launched the Lift website. So techs and artists and clients,
all the info.
Yeah, you can send them right to the Lift website, and it's just chock full of everything someone would need to know about Lift, why it works, how osmosis works, all the different stages, and there's lots of information for the public. I thought that was important.
I think it's very important.
Yeah.